You later. For those of you that don't know, and I'm sure you probably do, being from Montgomery, that young man is Sam Williams, and he is the son of Hank Williams Jr. and the grandson of Hank Williams Sr. Did Hank Sr.'s music, did it affect you growing up in that part of the country and being exposed to so much?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, the first thing I knew about Montgomery, really, as far as its history, was that that's where Hank Williams was from. But just from a music standpoint, I think one of the first songs I ever learned how to play and sing was "I Saw the Light." In fact, my dad had a Hank Williams guitar book, and we'd sit on the back porch. He'd break open that book and sit there and strum songs out of that Hank Williams book. And I don't even remember that we had any Hank Williams records. And when I was a young kid, like maybe 5 or 6, I remember how it hit me the first time I ever heard Hank Williams singing one of those songs, because that was my dad that sang those songs. And it sounded like, who is this guy? He's singing one of my dad's songs.
Imitating your dad.
I didn't even know I had it backwards. But yeah, Hank Williams was very instrumental in me learning what I know about music, the way I play guitar, the way I write. I enjoy driving around Alabama and seeing the different sites that are just Hank Williams related. Like I own some property down in Banks, Alabama. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, my Audrey's younger sister Loretta still lives there.
That's right.
Right outside of Brundage.
Well, the old post office in Banks that's right there on that junction right there is where Audrey and Hank met.
Yeah.
There's not a plaque there. There's not anything else there to mark the spot. But if you ask all the old timers around there, we all knew the building growing up.
I've told my dad several times that we need to get something put there. Because
Well,
Loretta
if you
will
put
tell
something
the
there,
story.
they'll haul it off.
Yeah, I know.
I prefer that it's not a tourist attraction, but when we go by it, we know, and that's enough for me. But there's a lot of places like that, like the place where T-Todd is buried. I think they finally did put a placard up right there.
Now, he was the guitar player that kind of taught Hank the blues and various stuff. Is he buried? Is it like in Georgiana? Where is he buried?
He's in Montgomery.
Oh, he's in Montgomery.
And they finally did put a marker up to mark the field, but they don't know the exact spot. But they did put a marker up because they know that's where they would have buried him in that day.
Mm-hmm. You ever go up to where Hank and Audrey are buried at the cemetery there?
All the time. Most recently, Dennis Quaid came to Montgomery, came to visit the golf course, and while he was there, he wanted to go down and see some of the spots downtown, and that was high on his list. And so we got to go up there and visit Hank's grave. I showed him the spot on the back of my guitar right here. It was 1995, and I hadn't had this guitar for very long, and Darrell Singletary came to Montgomery. And just like everybody else, he wants to go see Hank's grave. So we tore out after a show we did at one of the local beer joints out there, and went up to Hank's grave, and I was taking old Maple out of the case. And back then, I didn't have these locking straps on there, and I picked it up by the strap, and my guitar dropped, just like it did about 5 minutes ago. It dropped down on Hank's tombstone, and it did that damage right there. I've had a lot of Luthers over the years tell me, hey, I can fix that. Over my dead body. You leave that there. That's the first person to sign this guitar was Hank Williams. He signed it with a tombstone.